Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. Two from Kizer and two of the knives that were lost for a little bit, that went to the wrong address and apparently sat there for a little bit, but are now back with me. Thankfully, the people at these addresses at some point were just like, these aren't ours, and that's how that worked out, as they contacted the carrier. So, but anyways. Thank you so much to Kizer for sending these in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. Just an unboxing today, not a review. I will have links for these down in the description so that you guys can check them out if you want to. The second one is pretty heavy, so we're going to do that one second. This is the Microbe 14C28N and aluminum. So we are actually, here's the designer name right there. I don't want to butcher it, but I do want to show it. I think, you know, it looks like this looks like a budget build from. Oh wait, I've seen this one before. Yeah, I've already seen this. So I'll show it again. That's okay. That's okay. It came with this other one here. That's actually pretty sweet. Is this the aluminum? So this is their button operated top liner lock, which I think Kizer's is actually more like a compression lock because of the way it sandwiches itself between the stop pin and the lock face. But I think this is that aluminum foil G10. That's exactly what it is. I really like this material. Sorry, he's like, I'm in this one. But I really like this material. It's a nice way to add some flair to a budget knife, because the materials that we typically see are just aluminum or G10 or micarta or plastic. So this is, I think, a fairly inexpensive material, and it's nice that we get this sort of mascus in you know, budget tier knives. So this is pretty cool as far as, you know, for people who are looking for a nice, super small, lightweight, compact button operated liner lock. And it's okay. I mean, as far as rear flick manipulation, it's okay. A standard rollout with the thumb, I think, is probably the best way to manipulate this knife. Probably more of an office carry. This feels much larger. This is the Roach XL by Matt Degnan, and we're looking at, once again, materials that would place this in the budget category, which is good. You guys have been telling me here lately, hey, Complex, you've been not doing as much budget stuff as you have been more expensive stuff. And that's, I'll tell you why, because the budget stuff that's being sent to me is so unbelievably boring and so unbelievably exactly the same types of stuff you've been seeing in the knife world for the last 5 to 10 years. It's not worth my time, and it's not worth your time. That's the honest truth. And it's, you know, you can't expect the budget knife world to wow you all the time. A lot easier to be wowed by things that cost more money. But I only want to show things that I think are really worth showing. So occasionally, you know, obviously like Migron, like their ultra budget stuff, it's incredible, but not because the designs are new or different or unique. It's incredible because of the pricing. So if I'm sent something that's a mediocre design with a lock that I've seen a billion times, and then the quality control is fine, and the price comes in at totally, you know, unsurprising and unremarkable, kind of run-of-the-mill, very casually competitive, why would I show it? Here's another thing. Here's another triangle. Here's another rectangle. Yeah, it's, you know, sometimes, but not always. This is a much larger boy. A much larger boy. I hope this is a budget knife. I do like the look of that. That is cool. A big old beefy boy with a... This is probably the largest button-operated top liner lock / compression lock, and I am being very careful and deliberate with those words, because as we have seen from a previous disassembly of one of these newer Kizers with this button-operated system, a lot of these newer systems, and by the way, to catch you up, no, this is not a plunge lock. It's actually operating a lock bar, which means it has a detent ball. Now, these come in many forms. I'm sorry, they come in 3 forms as far as liners go. You have a standard button-operated liner lock where it engages directly underneath the blade. The lock face faces down. A top liner lock would mean that the lock bar engages behind a lock face on the blade, meaning the lock face actually faces this way. This tends to be a stronger and more reliable system. The most reliable and strongest form of this system is a true compression lock, which is how a Spyderco knife operates. Now, this is not a button-operated compression lock, it's just a compression lock. But this lock wedges itself. You can see here is the lock face. So it has a tab that slides into place behind that lock face, but the other side of the lock actually smashes itself underneath the stop pin. So the lock is compressed between the stop pin and the lock face. This appears, Kizer's version of this appears to operate the same way as a Spyderco compression lock. I will point out though that Kizer's systems have, even on this guy here, it does feel like quite a bit less tension than what I'm experiencing on the Spyderco. Now, I've had some Kizer button-operated locks fail a light spine tickle test, and the reason I call it that is because when I started doing this, we had a lot of people get really, really fussy, really yucky. They had yucky feelings in their tummy, and they said, no, Complex, don't do that. Please do not tickle the spine lightly. No, that's not real world yet. And my argument has always been the same. Number one, shut up, I'm going to do it anyway. Number two, I'm barely tapping at all. I'm not doing the 2010s YouTube swinging as hard as you possibly can against a railroad tie. Obviously, that doesn't prove anything. And yes, admittedly, there are not a lot of real-world circumstances where you're going to be repeatedly tapping on the spine. Is it unthinkable? No, far from it. Out to the tip and back, and it's fine. That's all that I really require. In my opinion, a knife lock that cannot handle that, especially, we have to put a lot of emphasis on this because, you know, newer locking systems like this are really exciting and they have the implication of high strength. So when they're advertised that way, you know, obviously, especially locks like this need to be able to survive just a light little tickling, right? The same amount of force oftentimes can fail a simple liner lock. People have pointed out that, you know, a lot of Herman knives would probably fail the same test. And yeah, in fact, I know that they will in some cases. Now, hopefully that, you know, they look into their geometry, but a lot of like light liner locks can easily fail that same test, and same way with frame locks. I can't say that I expect the same thing from a liner lock just because of the geometry and stuff like that. But I think most locking systems in general absolutely should be able to survive a couple of light taps, right? I don't expect any knife to withstand, you know, a Babe Ruth baseball swing into a concrete wall. No, definitely not. But I do look at locking systems and judge them differently. We obviously don't expect the same thing out of a frame lock versus a cold steel triad lock. So, for example, hanging 1,000 pounds and putting all of that pressure on the locking system on a cold steel triad lock or whatever survived that. The Atlas lock, was it the Atlas lock? That lock will survive it. But does that mean that a frame lock that does not survive it is a bad lock? No, but there's a whole bunch of variables in between there, right? You can have a really, really bad liner lock that can't survive hardly anything, and then you have really, really good liner locks that can survive substantially more, bordering into, abuse, and abuse is the only thing that you can apply to it that will actually get it to disengage. So I try to be careful about it, and it's really hard to be perfectly consistent. But one thing is for certain, if my spine tickle tests bother you, if they make you feel yucky in your tummy, this is what you can do about it. You can go to Reddit and you can complain about it. That's all you can do about it. Or you can go to Facebook groups and complain about it. You can go to Discord and complain about it. You can, get on your chat groups in Instagram, right? That's what you can do. You can whine about it. And then you can come back and you can watch me do it again anyway. But I'm glad that this held up. I think that that's great because this is a really cool model, definitely. This is a burlap micarta, or as I call grandma's couch micarta, but this is a darker tactical grandma's couch micarta. It's more like shadow mode grandma's couch, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I like this a lot. I really hope that this knife is under 75 bucks because what a winner. That's super cool. All right. A lot of goofing around in this episode, but it was fun. This is fine. I'm really more interested in the material on this knife than I am the knife itself. This is just super cool. I just love that it's a big, burly, button-operated Kizer compression lock flipper slash, Strider hole opener. It's just really neat. So anyways, that's going to be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.